And at 6:45, pretty much any member of Congress will announce support for cutting government waste and overspending, but each member is going to have a slightly different take on what exactly it is we should be cutting.
Right. And for example, Tucson's Republican congressman, working with his majority party in Washington, D.C., opposes cuts to food and higher education assistance and also Medicaid.
And joining us live on Arizona's Morning News, Congressman Juan Ciscomani. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Jim. Good morning, LaDonna. Good to be with you.
So good to be with you. And Peter's with me today. Jim, unfortunately, is out for about a week.
Peter, hi.
Hi there. Hi, Congressman. Nice chatting with you.
I'm just going to correct everybody as we roll along here. Now, in protecting those programs, you're also advocating for boosting border security. So, the big question that so many people have is, how do we find the money?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So when you're looking at a package like this in reconciliation, and that's important for people to know what this process looks like. First of all, as you mentioned, we have $36 trillion in debt, and it's unsustainable. We know that. This is what we ran on, but you have generations of politicians running on this issue, and then they get into office and don't do anything about it, especially at the federal level. So for the first time in a long time, we're actually doing something about this. Is it fun? Is it pretty? Is it what people will want to be? No, absolutely not. It never is. But when you blow up the spending of government the way that the federal government did back, especially in the COVID era, you put yourself in a position as a country of being vulnerable in so many ways. Yes, on the defense side, Homeland Security, we saw it, but also on protecting Medicaid, for example, for the most vulnerable, which is who it's meant to be. So this overspending is making everything unsustainable, and that's why we have to come in and make these hard decisions. Now, within all this that you're talking about, we do have increased spending in Homeland Security and judiciary and defense, for example, for our military, and we're finding where to cut the waste, in many cases, fraud, and we're looking at that and the abuse that's going on all over the federal government. So it is going to take some hard decisions along the way. Now, as we do that, my priority has been to protect the services for the most vulnerable, and that's specifically in the area of Medicaid. So we have to go find those resources as we also extend tax cuts for the middle class and small businesses.
You wrote a letter to House Speaker Mike Johnson to advocate all these programs, but why highlight how they'll help Hispanic people in particular?
Well, the letter came from the Hispanic caucus, and so I've had a couple of meetings with the speaker yesterday. I had one with a group of the Hispanic Republican caucus. This impacts the Hispanic population overwhelmingly. Almost 30% of Medicaid enrollees are Hispanic Americans, and for many of the families across the country, Medicaid is their only access to health care. So that was the focus that we were having in that letter and in my first meeting with the speaker yesterday. Then I had a meeting with the speaker again and leadership after the meeting where we had a broader group of members that are in districts like mine, protecting just the same issue, the same topic, but just with a broader group. But that's why this is so important. So on my letter to him, I'm on board to be able to reduce the spending. But I'm very specific there in the areas that we need to be protecting as well. Not everything is not working. Some things are, and even those that are need to be held accountable. And there's ways that we can improve the spending there and be more targeted with it. But not everything needs to go.
Well, let's talk about this because it feels for a lot of voters and in particular Democrats, but certainly for some Republicans as well, as though Elon Musk is literally taking a chainsaw to things rather than kind of going in and surgically finding things that actually are wasteful. So, I mean, is there any route to the president to say, hey, can we be a little more measured about this?
Well, Elon Musk has come in and really rocked the boat on the federal government, something that someone hadn't done in a long time. And, of course, this is with the guidance of President Trump. This is what he ran on, the president, and that's what he's delivering on that. Is the style different from what I would do, from what Elon is doing? I think we know the answer to that. I think my advocacy for this is go in there and find out what's working and what's not. And what's not working, find ways to improve it, or we don't have to do it at all. And that's okay as well. The federal government has a tendency of growing and growing and growing and never reducing itself. That's why I always look at every bill that I vote for here. I'm saying, is this expanding the role of the federal government? Why isn't this at the state level or the local level or a nonprofit or a private sector? Because you've never seen the federal government grow and then shrink itself back down. It just doesn't happen. So this approach of looking at what's not working and some things, eliminating them is part of the process. But there are other things that I hope we can find that we can say, hey, listen, this is working. We can make it more efficient and may even need an additional investment. I'm looking at Pell Grants. I'm looking at there's a lot of ways that we can improve SNAP, but we don't leave people out and dry out without having the proper food supply either. We're looking at, of course, Medicaid. These are all areas that can be improved, but we should not be even close to eliminating. We should be protecting them and making them work for the people that they're meant to work with. So that's my approach on this, on DOGE or on the efforts that we're talking about here on the vote that we're going to take today, which let me make a parenthesis here. It's important to note that the vote today, it's the resolution for the budget, meaning it's the blueprint. The real negotiation of what the reduction in spending is going to be and where we're going to get some of this money, to your other question, is going to be determined in the next 5 or 6 weeks. Today, it's kind of like getting on the field to start the game. This is the resolution that gets us to the conversation. The reconciliation is what's going to come in about 6 to 7 weeks maybe, and that's where all the specifics are going to be determined.
All right, that is Congressman, Arizona U.S. Congressman Juan Ciscomani with us here on KTAR.
Thanks for watching Arizona's Morning News. Click to watch more from KTAR News and hit the button in the middle to subscribe.